Doofy here, coming to you from the tarmac with 3 of the new emerging DCS light strike aircraft, the L-39, the MB-339, and a C-101 CC. Today we are answering the hard questions that everybody wants to know is, are these light strike aircraft carrier capable? And not just any carrier, but a real man's carrier, one with a ski ramp. Today we'll be using the Kuznetsov. First up is the L-39, weighing in at 8,186 pounds with 500 pounds of fuel loaded up. That is 24% of its total fuel capacity. First off, we're going to engage full flaps. We're then going to put the tow brakes on full, and we're going to spool up. As soon as the engine is spooled up to 100%, we release the brakes. And the trick to this is to just fly the aircraft. It's just going to settle on out as it picks up speed. We are not going to pull up the landing gear because we're going to need the landing gear here in a minute. We're just going to make a left-hand circuit and come right back around and land as efficiently as possible. So, a few gauges to look at. If you look at the center of the panel, you have our artificial pitch ladder there. We're not going to be looking at that. We're going to be looking to the left at our airspeed and to the right at our VSI. I'm going to try to keep that VSI level as I decrease speed. I want to run the balance of running as close as I can to the stall speed. So it's, as you know, going from flying to not flying is the transition to stall speed here. And what is the slowest speed that I can maintain without completely falling out of the sky? That will be important because we don't have a whole lot of room on the carrier to stop. So I'm going to try to balance things out here. And I think that is the real point of this test, not so much to land on the carrier, but how do these aircraft handle at stall speeds? How do they handle on a landing situation? Here I am deploying the air brakes, and I'm at full flaps, and I am very draggy with the landing gear down. And it's crazy to deploy the brakes at already a slow speed. Here I am doing 120 knots. I want to be, I think in testing that 110 was kind of like my limit of where I start dropping out of the sky at this particular weight. So just to the right of my VSI is my engine. My N1 compressor there is at 80%. That's going to be kind of my indication of how much throttle I'm using here. Lined up with a carrier. Going to try to maintain a descent with a very slow speed here. And in the L-39 it's tricky because of the L-39 stall characteristics. It tends to stall one wing before the other, and it will actually get quite out of hand. It'll cartwheel and do weird things to you. I'll demonstrate that in another video, but of the 3, I think this is got the worst stall characteristics of the 3. I don't know. Also keep in mind there are most definitely better L-39 pilots out there. I'm more of a C-101 pilot, but I am going to give this my best today. And the for science. We're doing it for science today. So one thing you may notice is that this gun sight sucks. So it's blocking my view of the carrier. Yeah, let me try looking around the site. That works a little bit. I will admit, I had to try this a lot of times to get a take where I was able to take off and land in the same shot. I was able to land it a couple times, but my really good landing I wasn't recording, so you get this one today. Coming in, I'm cutting the throttle, as you can hear. Full brakes, full flaps, landing gear down. I'm very draggy, and I'm just plummeting out of the sky here. Let's see if we can get the deck underneath us. There it is, and we're not lined up. And oof, crunch, and broke the landing gear. But that is a repairable fix. I'm sure there are better pilots that can do this more consistently than I can, but I have put it on the deck. All right, next up, the C-101 CC. I meant to have all of my planes in a solo flight, but this was the only one that actually made it. So, all right, parking brake on, MPR on. We are at full flaps. All right, the engine is spooled up. We are going to show that we are at 8,351 total pounds. That is with 500 pounds of fuel, and that is 13% of its total capacity. We are taking off the parking brake, and here we go. All right, gear up right away because we need the airspeed. And okay, we're up and safe. It wasn't nearly as close as that looked with the angle of the shadow, but this is probably the more difficult one to get off the deck. Which is weird because I think that this is the easiest one to land. Alright, so making the left-hand circuit. Gonna bring down the throttle a bit. Okay, gear down. We don't want to pick up a whole lot of speed. You can see on the right hand of the panel the 3 gauges that are all identical. Those are my engine gauges, so you can see if that illuminated number, the percentage of total rated at the top, that's going to be the equivalent of what my throttle is. VSI is just below the altimeter, and airspeed indicator is to the left of the artificial horizon. I've got to take it easy coming around here because I don't have a lot of speed to work with. I'm already pretty close. When I've got a combat load, I consider 140 knots the stall speed, but with this light of a load, I think I can get away with 110 knots. Master caution, that is looking down at my alarm panel. That is my low fuel warning because I'm already at a really low amount of fuel. Okay, lining up with the carrier. I've got my full flaps. Looking up at my upper left, there's the air brake indicator. The air brake is currently in. I'm going to use that right as I approach to drop my speed down below my stall speed and drop onto the carrier. But I am going to maintain this descent speed with low throttle and the drag from my gear and from my flaps. Coming right up on 100 knots. Wow, that's slow. That is really slow. That is dangerously slow. All right. Coming in at a steeper angle than I am the other ones. This is probably a more correct angle for... Oh, air brake out. There we go. Got to burn off some speed. It's a more correct angle for coming in for a carrier. I'm intending to land these planes very shallowly. Here we come. Here comes the deck. And there we go, down. In practice, I can land this consistently. I can, the 101 probably the best at landing here. Alright, going F2 view to get a cool shot. And of course the MB-339. Alright, today we are flying that at a 7,588 pounds of takeoff weight. That's 500 pounds of fuel. That is 37% of its total fuel. We're going to just inspect that there. We're going to engage the toe brakes. Our flaps are already fully engaged. We are going to spool up. Watch how long this takes to spool. Right hand gauge there, yeah. There it goes. Big engine. Alright, there we go. Off. Just fly the plane. No need to pull the gear up on this one. You can see it shake as we're, you know, coming out of the stall condition. There's the carrier behind us. One thing of note, this has only got 2 flaps positions at present, so fully engaged and fully not engaged. As opposed to the other 2, which had a mid kind of a takeoff flaps kind of position and a full flaps position. Alright, airspeed is to the left of the artificial horizon. VSI is to the right and down. We're going to try to keep this slow. Of the 3, this is probably the most slippery in that it has the least amount of inherent drag. It is really hard to burn off that speed once you pick it up on this one as opposed to the other 2. Gonna complete the left-hand circuit here and come in for a landing. And as you can see, that is throttle completely dumped. I'm trying to manage my speed here. Jump to an external shot. See that the air brake deployed here in a second, but gotta get lined up. Power back on. Yeah. Alright. Okay, there's the air brake. Alright, air brake is deployed. There we are, external shot. Coming in shallow. Despite this being the lightest weight of the 3, it does take a lot of distance for it to brake on this carrier, so it is cutting it close for what it's capable of doing here. So, ooh, we are really shallow. Nose up a little bit more. A little more power. There we go. Coming in. Perfect. And down, brakes. Brakes. Yay! This is cutting it close. Alright, we're down.
011, abort takeoff.
And that is how you land one of those on a carrier. Alright, so here's our little operations score sheet here. The L-39 was the best at taking off. The MB-339 was not bad. The C-101 is doable for sure, but it is the heaviest out of the three. Landing the C-101 was the easiest, the MB-339 was in the middle ground, and the L-39 was all but impossible. That's how things stack up for me. Your mileage may vary. Again, if you like this sort of content, feel free to like, comment, or subscribe.